I took the late shift at the shelter she said was full. The shelter sits where our town meets the river. Two brick stories of good intentions with a mural that looks best at dusk. On weeknights the staff move behind the glass like patient weather, stocking bins, carrying trays, listening in a way that makes a person taller. 3 months ago my wife, Hannah, started volunteering there on Wednesdays. Late shift, she said, tying her hair like a flag. They cap volunteers at 6. I barely made the list. She showed me the sign-up form like a boarding pass. I went back to my laptop and an exhibit draft about small boats and big water, telling myself history is people hungry to move. The first Wednesday she came home smelling like cinnamon and bleach. We made French toast for dinner, she said, pleased at the scandal. Someone donated 50 loaves. She told me about a veteran who told jokes sideways and a teenager with a spaghetti squash tattoo. She was tired in the good way. The next week she was quieter. We had to turn people away, she said. We're full a lot. I told myself grief was part of service. I told myself it was good that my wife had a room where she was useful and not only excellent. By week 4 the shelter had moved into our conversation. Hannah talked about the volunteer coordinator, a man named Marco who understands people like a locksmith. She said it easily, the way you say something you don't want to explain. I pictured a clipboard and an ability to turn knots into bows. You'd like him, she said. I hope that wasn't the thesis. The shelter posted an urgent call for volunteers. I checked the late shift out of idle solidarity and saw it still marked full. It was a minor detail at major volume. That night Hannah said, we're slammed, and I wish you could see it when it goes right. Some marriages hire private detectives. I learned to navigate a portal. A small link read, accessibility issues. Email us. I wrote on behalf of a friend who couldn't get a slot. Ivy, different Ivy than any other story, replied with a fresh link and 3 new late shift openings, thanks to a donation that covered extra staff. I stared at the email like someone handed permission he wasn't proud of wanting. I took the last slot. Wednesday I told Hannah I'd be late with a boat thing and drove to the shelter, parking 2 streets down so I could practice bravery as theater. Inside, the air was a busy kind of clean. A woman named Lucy handed me gloves. New, she said, turning the word into welcome. She pointed me toward dishes. Ask Marco if you get lost. The kitchen was orchestrated chaos. Grilled cheese flipping like prayers, apples cut with surgical gravity, an argument that soup is better if you call it stew. Hannah stood at the end of the line, ponytail, sleeves rolled, smile at the precise wattage that steadies without blinding. Marco was beside her, clipboard tucked under an elbow like ceremony. He was younger than I'd pictured and older in calm. They moved well together, the practice ballet of you grab that, I'll grab this. Watching them felt like 2 instruments tuning. I didn't hate it. I also didn't love that I didn't hate it. I washed pans and learned the names of objects that sound like verbs. Mid-lull, Marco came over. Max, he said, reading my tag with the kindness of pretending. Thanks for hopping in. He gestured toward the line. You with anyone? My wife's online, I said. Hannah turned then and saw me. Relief crossed her face, confession disguised as surprise, followed by something more complicated. It passed quickly. Professionalism is a safe mask. You're here, she said when she could slide over. You signed up. I also lied about boats, I said. I wanted to see the room you've been giving your hands to. She looked like a speech had been replaced mid-paragraph. Okay, she said. It was permission and warning. I took both. We served until the steamer's complaints softened and the last tray went out like a fleet. I watched Hannah do the thing that hooked me years ago at a park meeting, the way she aims attention. She asks questions more than polite and less than invasive. She remembers siblings and shoe sizes and the name of a dog someone lost 3 winters ago. She knows who needs a second napkin and who needs to be asked about their poem. During break, volunteers circled in the office where donations and hope are sorted. A tin of cookies labeled fragile sat open. Lucy read birthdays. We clapped for a teenager named Desiree who accepted it like applause was a survival skill. Marco debriefed. Socks and deodorant low, pineapple surplus to trade, parking rules may be changing, Saturday morning shift up for grabs. It was municipal and holy. When the others drifted back, he said, "Your wife is good at this." He meant it like a compliment to both of us. Some people are a voice, she's a listening gesture. Yeah, I said, studying the bulletin board so I wouldn't turn it into a speech. After dishes, I helped him fold shirts donated by a company that confused quantity with generosity. First shift, he asked. I asked if it always felt like this. Impossible, then impossible again. Like a tide, he said. We don't beat it, we learn the times. By the end of the night, my hands hurt in the good way Hannah had described. We walked to our cars under a sky that had decided to be stars. Ride with me, she said. In the quiet she added, you thought this was about Marco, not a question. I thought it was about a room I didn't know how to enter and a person holding the door while I described the weather from the sidewalk, I said. I'm not sure that's better. She laughed once without celebration. I was lonely, she said. Not for romance. For usefulness, for a place where my attention isn't extra. And I was tired, I said. I mistook exhaustion for permission. In our kitchen, the fridge hummed on our behalf. The cat scolded us for lateness and then forgave us in installments. I didn't talk about him because I didn't want to extend the spell, she said. Then not talking became another spell. That's how bad rooms get built. I'll sign up for some Wednesdays, I said. Not to babysit, to carry pans. Good, she said. And I'll tell you when I sign up, even if the list says full. No secret rooms, even the good ones. We made tea, and because we've learned to ritualize aftershocks, we made a list on the legal pad by the cereal. 1, if we want to be useful, ask each other for an assignment. 2, if someone new understands us, say so in daylight. 3, if the calendar says R, translate it. 4, if one of us lies even small, the next sentence is truth. 5, put a box by the door for deodorant and socks. We taped it up with the lighthouse magnet from her grandmother. On the nose is a sin we now allow. The next Wednesday I registered properly. The dish station recognized me. So did Lucy's eyebrows. Marco said, "Welcome back," in a tone that took neither credit nor blame. Hannah and I split the line so we wouldn't become a two-person city and starve the rest. I learned to stack bowls like sentences, heavy down low, delicate where they won't be asked to carry too much. Midway through service, a man returned his grilled cheese after 2 bites. Too buttery, he said, stubborn and sorry. I made him a less buttery one. He ate it and cried, not because of the sandwich probably, because of everything sandwiches sometimes stand in for. After, Hannah squeezed my elbow in our private code. It meant, "I'm glad you saw that." It meant, "Thank you for bringing your hands to the place where I keep mine." On break I watched her and Marco barter pineapples for socks with the grace of small-town diplomats. Up close, ordinariness did its work. The sweat, the repetition, the too small room, the big need. Jealousy looks larger from a couch than it does beside a mop sink. Driving home, we didn't talk about Marco. We talked about Desiree passing her GED practice, the veteran's new joke, a kid who argued that cinnamon should count as a vegetable. We wondered whether the cat's forgiveness model would scale to cities. At the house, I slid a plastic tote under the bench. "Deodorant and socks," I said. "Inventory 1. "You're ridiculous," she said, kissing my cheek like an attaboy. "And useful." Neighbors began leaving things on the porch with notes. "Wool if possible. Tell Desiree we believe in her." Hannah typed "we" without wincing. I found that unreasonably beautiful. I won't sell you an epic. It's a pan rack and a list, and the practice of carrying something heavy across a room. Some nights I still hear the old syrupy script, the one where the coordinator with the locksmith voice is my antagonist and I save the day with a metaphor. When it starts, I give it a grilled cheese and point it toward the sink. If you ask what saved us, I'll say,